What's up, guys? Eric Bray, Focus Fishing Guide Service, Table Rock Fishing Intel. Got another weekly fishing report for you for Table Rock Lake. It is Wednesday, June the let's say 24th. Okay, sounds good. Wednesday, June the 24th. Been on the water pretty much every day. Doing some trout, doing some bass. Bass fishing's still real good. Trout fishing's really good. We are still posting daily reports on Table Rock Fishing Intel. If you have not checked that out, please do. Take a look at TableRockFishingIntel.com. We're posting daily reports. We just put a new Time on the Water series on there, which turned out really good. We got the first hour on there right now. We're gonna have the second hour next week. Doing a lot of product reviews. I did a review on the Ghost trolling motor, so if you guys are curious about the Ghost trolling motor, the features, benefits, and what I think of it, I've been running it for a couple of months now, so you can check that out on TableRockFishingIntel.com as well. As far as Table Rock is concerned, our lake level, we are at 928.85, which puts us almost 12 feet high, 11.85 feet high. Also means it's come down about a foot in the last week, which is a good deal. They are slowly dropping it now. They've got most of the flood water in the Mississippi is going down, so they are working on lowering all the lakes in the chain, Table Rock included. So we are dropping a little bit. Water temperature really hasn't moved that much. It was a little chilly this morning. I think we saw 78, 79 first thing this morning down here on the lower end. But you get up in the rivers and you'll see low to mid 80s, especially when you have a sunny day. And if you're fishing in the afternoon or evening, you'll definitely see some 80s on your surface temperature up there. If you guys are coming down, say you're going to fish the lower end where I am today, had a pretty good day today. Topwater bite, you know, had a real good topwater day over the weekend, and I thought finally they're moving some water. The fish are starting to chase on surface. Not so much. Today we had 4 or 5 decent blow-ups. Did catch a good smallmouth, about a 3.5 pound smallmouth on a spook. But really it didn't happen. I don't know, there was a little bit of fog. Like I said, it was a little chilly this morning, so that probably knocked him down, but it's still worth having a spook, a whopper plopper, a popper, a surge shad, whatever you want to throw on your deck, because we are still catching a few on topwater, but you'll usually know within 15-20 minutes if it's worth your time, and you do want to get out there right at the break of dawn, because it's over quick. Even that good topwater day I had, I guess it was Saturday, was over pretty quick. Once that's over, you know, there are guys out drop shotting, there are guys out spooning. I know guys are catching them out there doing that. I'm still catching them shallow, so I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. I am throwing the Jewel Pee-wee football jig or a Jewel spider jig, and I am throwing it basically into the bushes. Get on the flat gravel points you can find, get up there fairly tight to the bushes. You don't want to throw all the way back into the bushes because it's hard to work it through, but that last row of bushes before you get to the old bank line is holding a lot of fish, and that's what we did today. I think we had about 22 or 24 fish with probably 11 or 12 keepers, most of them all smallmouth. Had some short largemouth and a couple of short Kentuckys, but pretty much everything we caught was smallmouth. But I'm just throwing it up in there, so these fish are coming from about 12 foot to about 15 foot. As the day wears on, the sun gets up, you will need to back out a little bit. The last few we caught were out probably around 18 or 20 foot deep, so keep that in mind, but it's flat gravel. Throw it into the bushes and pull it through the bushes. That's how I'm catching them. Most of them on the Pee-wee football jig, but I have been catching them on the spider jig as well. If I get an area where the bushes are really thick, I'll switch up to a spider jig because it does come through the bushes a little bit better than the Pee-wee does. Go up into the Kimberling City area, same sort of deal. You can definitely catch them early on a topwater one day and not the next. So keep a spook, a whopper plopper, a popper, a surge shad, whatever you want to throw on the deck. You start to see fish busting first thing in the morning. Again, throw it. You will. I had one today. That good day I had on Saturday, I think we had about 18 or 20 topwater fish, so it was a pretty strong day. But you know, they were all just right up there on the bank, up around the bushes, and most of them were on a popper or a spook. So keep that in mind. Again, today we didn't have them as well. That same jig bite that I'm using down here is working really well in Kimberling City as well. Catching a lot of fish by throwing it to the old bank line, actually past the old bank line and dragging it. If you see any gaps in the bushes, throw it in those gaps and pull it back out, pull it through the bushes. Usually most of your bites will happen when you clear a bush. That's when you're going to get bit. And I'm throwing the Jewel Jewel Pee Wee football jig, and I'm throwing the Jewel Pro Spider jig. I have been throwing a tube a little bit, but the tube tends to, unless you Texas rig it, it'll hold up, but you can catch them on the Jack and Jaws tube doing that. And you can probably catch them on a shaky head too. Just haven't thrown it. I'm throwing that 7/16 Pee Wee football jig more than anything else, and that's what's catching fish. But keep that in mind. Again, there is a deep bite starting to form up. The fish are a little bit scattered. I think it was Friday of last week. Went out specifically to target deep fish, drop shot and spoon. Caught some out on deep gravel, mostly Kentuckys with a few white bass mixed in, out there in about 28 to 38 feet deep, and then went and looked at some trees and some of the creek arms. You'll hit one tree, it'll have a bunch of fish, another tree doesn't, but we did manage to catch a few drop shot in trees as well. So that bite is getting started. So these fish are starting to move out deeper. But if I can catch them shallow, I'm gonna fish shallow. Until somebody rings the bell and says that the shallow bite's completely over, I'm gonna fish shallow with a jig as long as I can. I go up in the James, top water and jig, same as everywhere else. Have your spook, your whopper plopper, your popper, your surge shad. Have all those tied on. Have them ready. Throw them for the first hour or two in the morning on some flat gravel banks. Really seems to be key right now. Watch for shad, watch for busting fish. That's where you're going to catch these fish. But again, one day will be great, the next day you can't get a sniff. So keep that in mind as well. And then a jig. I'm catching so many fish up there on a jig. Few on a Ned and a few on a shaky head, but most of the fish I'm catching are either on the Pee Wee football jig or the Jewel Pro Spider jig. Same sort of pattern, flat gravel banks, throwing it back into the bushes and pulling it through that last row of bushes, and that's where I'm getting bit, basically on the old bank line. Seems to be what's holding most of these fish. Did catch a few flipping docks up there last week as well, and it's mostly the docks that have been pulled into the old bank line. Anything that's going to give them shade or cover on that old bank line is going to be critical, and that old bank line bite is only going to get better the more they draw this water down. These fish will start to vacate those trees and bushes and get on the old bank line pretty hard here in the next week or so. Go up in the White River, and same deal. The White River's really fun. Have a topwater tied on. If you don't get a bite, you don't get a bite, but it's harder to dig it out when they're busting than to just pick it up off your deck and throw it. So a spook, whopper plopper, popper, surge shad, whatever you want to throw, have that ready in case they do come up. In the White River, it seems like on those flat gravel points, they're coming up a little bit more consistently than they are anywhere else on the lake. So keep that in mind as well. If you're going to go up into the White River, that you probably have a better shot of catching topwater fish up there than anywhere else on the lake. And then the jig bite, Pee Wee football jig, Pro Spider jig, fish in the old bank line right in the bushes. Throw it into the bushes, pull it back out. That's where I'm getting caught. That's where I'm catching my fish. You're going to lose a few jigs, guys. I throw mine on 14-pound fluorocarbon, so I can pull it through most of the bushes, and I don't set the hook on a bush. That makes a big difference. But that's where I'm getting bit. That's where I'm catching most of my fish right now. There is a deep bite going up there as well. Scuba spoon out there, 28 to 38 to 45 foot deep. You'll find Kentuckys mixed in with white bass out there, especially on some of those big main lake gravel points and big gravel flats. You can catch them on a drop shot out there as well, dropping it down, same locations on the bottom, and then a few in trees. You can definitely catch a few in trees, drop shotting. Shad shaped worm, Yamamoto cut tail worm, Chomper's drop shot worm, all those are working in the trees out there. It's just, again, if I can catch them shallow, I'm gonna fish shallow, and I think my clients enjoy fishing shallow more than just hanging a line over the side and shaking it. So definitely catch some on a drop shot up there if you're so inclined. Guys, we are almost all the way through June, almost to the second most hated day on the guide calendar, which would be 4th of July weekend. The lake's a zoo. Apparently everybody who could buy a boat bought a boat, and they're all out here on the water. So the boat traffic is horrendous, just so you know. Try to get off the water early. Get on the water early, get off the water early. This fishing through the midday is for the birds. And really, because we've only got a few ramps open, you've got State Park. I am at Moonshine right now. You can launch here, but there is no courtesy dock, and you're gonna have to beach your boat on the ramp. Just keep that in mind. You've got Mill Creek in the Kimberling City area. You've got courtesy dock, you can use it. You've got Ants Creek. Again, get there early because there's not much parking, and they only have the one ramp open. You can launch at Highway H or Big Indian up there around Shell Knob. and you can launch at the bridge, but again, you're going to have to beach. So keep that in mind. The other factor you're going to run into is when you come back in, it's going to be crowded, it's going to be busy. Even during the week, I mean, it wasn't too bad today, but I've been out here on like a Thursday or Friday, and it can pretty much be a zoo when you get back to the ramp. So keep that in mind. Maybe not make that last cast, maybe head in a little bit sooner, just so you're not dealing with the madness that is at the boat ramps right now. But guys, I do want to mention the TableRockFishingIntel.com again. If you have not checked that out, please take a minute to check it out. $45 annual membership, but there is so much information on there between maps and videos and daily fishing reports, everything else. It's really worth that 45 bucks. I talk to people every day that tell me that they're really glad they did, so if you haven't done so, check it out. There's a ton of information on there. But guys, if you're coming down, want to go fishing, give me a call. It's Focus Fishing Guide Service. You can reach me at 417-860-4743 or hit my website, focusfishing.com, and shoot me an email or book online. Either way, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Just so you know, I am booking mid-July right now, so anything for the next couple of weeks are pretty much done. But mid-July is pretty open, August is pretty open, but if you guys want to hire a guide, give me a call. Guys, thanks for watching the videos. Again, take a minute to check out Table Rock Fishing Intel if you haven't done that, but thanks for watching. Can't wait to hear from you. We'll see you on the water.